killed in a BSE scare 7 years ago are buried in a landfill site in Worcestershire. Experts and local people fear that the agent that causes BSE may seep into the environment. But the Ministry of Agriculture says it's safe, and cattle due to be slaughtered next week will end up in similar sites in the region. This report from David Gregory.
Buried behind this fence are 300 dead cattle infected with BSE, a relic of the first BSE crisis in the late 1980s. The Ministry of Agriculture says using landfill like this is safe, but some in the local community are worried.
Now, at the time when we found this out, there were some 230 carcasses to date, and at that time the burial was an ongoing situation. We were told then that there was no way the virus could survive in the soil or affect the water table. That is now found, we have now found out with research in the past few weeks that indeed the virus can exist in the soil and can affect the water table. So we're saying that what should happen is that these carcasses should be exhumed and incinerated.
This Monday will see the culling of all cattle aged over 30 months. It's a daunting operation.
We have this massive backlog of cattle waiting there to come forward for the cull. Once that starts, we can then start to see a little bit of daylight. But as you can well understand, when you have these sort of 70 or 80,000 cattle out there, you're not going to do those overnight. It will take a matter of weeks to clear that backlog before we can get onto the normal cull rate, which we estimate to be around 14 to 15,000 per week.
Across the region, nearly 50,000 prime beef cattle are due to be slaughtered. Despite government compensation, the National Farmers Union say beef farmers could lose as much as £150 per animal, which adds up to a regional total of £7.2 million. While the farmers worry about cost, the sheer number of animals to be slaughtered means that landfill sites in the region could be used for cattle remains. Experts are concerned.
We're under much more pressure as far as the quality of groundwater is concerned, with the water demand increasing rapidly and the water supply being limited. We shouldn't do anything which will endanger the underground water supplies, and therefore I think probably the only option this time is to incinerate the carcasses.
The burial procedure here at this landfill site was supervised by the Ministry of Agriculture, and they say it's a completely safe procedure. But as with so many things in the beef scare, it's less a question of what is safe as what the public perceive to be safe. With worries over both compensation and carcass disposal, many believe next week's cattle slaughter will cause more problems than it solves.
In a moment, in the Midlands today. The Duke of Gloucester was at the Black Country Museum to look at some of the traditional buildings and sample some traditional food.
You could tell the Black Country Museum's rare cast iron houses were being visited by somebody important, not so much because of the Lord Lieutenant and civic dignitaries outside, but because he came in through the front door.
Your Royal Highness, can I introduce Mrs. Pat Smith, who actually lived in the cast iron houses?
Pat Smith explained that when she grew up here, that would never have been allowed.
You all came round, you never allowed in the front door.
The trolleybus, which pulled up outside, had the nearest thing to a personalised number plate. The Duke of Gloucester took advantage of the world's only operational trolleybus route. It runs from one end of the museum site to the other, which is now permeated by the distinctive smell of fish frying.
You're all hard at work.
Fish and chips traditionally prepared, inspiring memories of burning the tip of one's tongue, a comment that they're not like modern soggy ones, and disappointment that health rules mean they can't be wrapped in newspaper.
Well, it doesn't seem quite right, but the ink, is it the ink or the paper? Yeah. It's meant to be antiseptic, isn't it, the ink? Is it? I mean, isn't it good for you if you have a wound or something? You have it up in newspapers.
We'll try that with environmental health and see what they say.
But maybe it's not the same as eating it.
No, perhaps not.
The Duke could observe another of the golden rules of fish and chips, though. Eat them in the street, but don't throw the wrapper down.